Hello, this is a quick video tutorial on basic gating techniques. So what we have here is a kick track, and we have two overhead tracks on the left and right that's placed above the drum set. The kick is inside the kick drum and is predominantly getting the kick sound, and the overhead's getting the overall sound of the drum set, mainly the cymbals. So our job with a gate is to gate the kick, meaning that we want to remove any kind of bleed that's in the kick track itself. Let's go ahead and take a listen and check how this kick sounds. So it's a pretty solid kick, but the only problem is that we have some bleed. That means that we're not only getting the kick sound, but we're also getting a little bit of the hi-hats and cymbals, and we're also getting some of the snare as well. So to go ahead and start, let's go ahead and put a gate on our insert on our kick track. So if we click this and type in gate, we can use our stock gate plugin that comes with Nuendo. This is our gate plugin right here. And before we start using the gate, we want to put the gate in its default setting. So that means place the threshold and put it all the way to 0 dB. Our range should be all the way to negative infinity. Our analysis should be set to RMS. We should have the quickest attack setting, the quickest hold setting, and the quickest release time. Once we do that, and if you play our kick, we shouldn't be hearing anything. The first thing that we want to do is we want to adjust our threshold until we hear the kick, and then keep adjusting until we hear some of the bleed. Once we hear the bleed, let's go ahead and put our threshold back up until we get no bleed anymore. So there's our kick. Okay, I can hear some of the snare now, so let's go ahead and put it back. Good, now I have a kick and no bleed at all. We're not done yet. Let's do the same thing with the range. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn my range up until I hear some of the bleed, then I'll back off a little bit. Okay, I can hear a little faint snare there, so I'm going to go ahead and bring my range back down. Okay, good. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is adjust my release, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the threshold and the range. I'm going to slow my release down until I hear some of the bleed, then I'll back off a little bit. Okay, I could already hear bleed now, so I'm going to go back down. Good. I can barely hear any bleed there. And then with the attack setting, this is really up to you, and it's really about how you want to design your transients. If you slow down your attack, the kick is going to sound a little bit more dull, and it's going to sound a little bit more softer. So if you want much more of a attack heavy kick, then keep it at a quick attack. But if you want your kick to sound a little bit more dull or a little bit more soft, you can go ahead and slow down the attack. So as you can see, when I slow down the attack, the quick even got a little bit more quieter, but it also sounded a little bit more duller. I like my kick to have some beater in there, meaning that that's the instrument that actually hits the kick drum. And I like it to sound a little bit more sharp. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it at a quick attack time. Now, if you run into an issue where you feel like you've done all this to the best of your ability, but your kick still sounds a little bit more choppy because of the gate, I wouldn't worry too much, because as soon as you bring in the overhead tracks, it's not going to sound as choppy anymore. And there you have it, and that's how you use gates. Now when you gate a snare, a lot of times the hi-hat is right next to the snare drum, so it's going to be almost impossible to get rid of the hi-hat depending on how the mic was placed. So when you gate a snare, the way you can think about gating is that you want to minimize the hi-hat and not necessarily remove it. If you could remove the hi-hat, that's going to be the best of your ability, but sometimes you just can't do that. Anyways, I hope this helps, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Take care.